here. If you've been following us on social media, as you should, at Wizards Comics on Twitter, at Wizards_Comics on Instagram, you may have noticed that I was teasing a gift that I was given recently. I was traveling to be part of a friend's wedding, and one of my fellow groomsmen dialed me up before and said, "Hey, Pope, I got a box of comics. Do you want it?" I was like, "Yes." There's no question about that. He's aware of the podcast. So he said, "This is my personal comic book collection. I'm bringing it down. There's some fun stuff in there you're going to like." And he wasn't wrong. I had to sort through this. I only had so much room in the suitcase, so I took about half of what was in the box. And even then, it's a ton of stuff. So I may end up having to do this as a series, do a couple different videos for you because it's just so much to talk about. But big shout out to my buddy Galen for doing this. This isn't the first time. If you've ever seen our first video here on the channel, very grainy, very low quality, of me eating a copy of X-Force #1, yes, literally taking a bite out of the comic book, he provided that as well. So this is not the first time he has bequeathed some comics to me. I just mentioned this real. We had a band in high school. We had a heavy metal band called Natural Fear, yeah, and we never talked about comics. I didn't know that he was hitting up the shops just the same time I was. Like, it was crazy. So anyway, he's got all these comics. He shared it with me. Some very iconic images in here. So let's start with one that I'm sure you're going to recognize, okay? Yes, this is the Captain America Annual #8, all right? Now, this has a Mike Zeck drawn cover. It is just beautiful. Wolverine slashing on the shield there, right? I actually just this past Christmas found an old photo of me in front of a Christmas tree, probably 1992, where I had just unwrapped a present that was a t-shirt that had this image on it. So I'll try to share that on social media for you guys because I've known this image for years but never read the comic, and now I can, which is awesome. All right, but Galen was a very big fan of Wolverine, and Wolverine appeared in many different titles, as you know, whether it was the 80s or the 90s. So I'll just hold up some of these here, but Marvel Comics Presents was a great place to find Wolverine, right? Or the Hulk, or any number of characters. Like, they would mix in all these little stories and give, new talent. We've reported there were a lot of new talent people that broke in by doing a Marvel Comics Present little 8-pager or something back in the day, right? So these are just very special. I always love picking up this, but Barry Windsor Smith Weapon X Marvel Comics Presents issue? Guys, this is really cool. Wow. I mean, that's one of those where you're just like, I can't believe it. But now, I believe this is a Sam Keith cover, as you can see by the signature there. And, oh, looks like we got some more Sam Keith. Yeah, he was doing a lot of Marvel Comics Presents before the Max years. There we go. The best thing is, right, Galen was collecting these books, and he was doing it, in sequential order because he was buying them every month. When they were coming out, he was grabbing them. So now, I mean, it's just to have like these runs where you can say, okay, this is how it was evolving, right? Now, the other thing that he had a lot of, and I'll be sharing them with you, were these old school, right? Collected editions, these old school trades. So this is the Jungle Adventure, which is really cool when you look at the names. Chris Claremont and Mike Mignola. That's pretty neat. And I actually remember seeing this in the comic book store back in the day, but never picking it up. There's a different quality, right, to the older trades. Feels like there's more of a history there. Now, like I said, big Wolverine fan, right? So not only Marvel Comics Presents, but also Wolverine's own title. Okay, so now this is interesting because the artist changed on this book. I mean, I don't know about this art here. I don't know if this passes the muster, right? But right here, so it's just like it's so interesting to see. And as I was sorting through these, he was like, "Oh, the Lady Deathstrike issue. That's great." Or is this Albert? I'm going to assume. I've always heard about Albert. I remember the action figure, Robot Wolverine. Now I'll find out more about it. Oh, and so it's kind of cool to see as the different artists were coming on this. I'm trying to see how many of these have the artist's signature on them. But I mean, again, these are going in order. I mean, this is stuff that as I read it, I can get the saga of Wolverine from these years. Speaking of which, what year is this here? Oh, it's a 91. Okay. So I know our buddy at nlogan77, Jeff, who's been on the podcast, our Wolverine expert, has all of these. But look, now I know, Jeff, I know what you're talking about. Here's another one here. Okay. So it's just like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. Oh, wait, there's more. Yeah, like he was so dedicated to Wolverine, he just picked it up for years. Okay, so here we go. Ooh, a little Mojo action, right? Oh, I want to see a Mojo appearance in there. Oh, well, what do you know? Old Shatterstar, huh? Was this part of... Oh, no, I thought this may have been like a Shatterstar doppelganger as part of that Infinity War storyline. Anyway, now we got some more X-Men characters making their guest appearances here. Gambit, Jubilee, Sunfire? You're going to promote Sunfire? Okay. But you got Silver Samurai on this cover, so that's pretty sweet. Oh, is it Mariko? Did she get injured in this story? I guess I'll have to flip the pages, find out for myself. Now, this is one that when I pulled it from the box, I was like, dude, Terror Inc., Terror Incorporated. I was like, I have the Terror Incorporated issues where Wolverine guest stars, and now get to see what it looks like on the other side, so that's kind of fun. I want to know what's going on with this story right here. Like, I look at this and I'm saying, like, this art also looks familiar. I don't know which artist that is, but this almost looks to me like when, Hulk became Mr. Fix-It, Like, is this Wolverine becoming some sort of bodyguard for a mafia guy? Oh, this is intense. Look at that. Wolverine and Sabretooth going at it head to head. All right, this is pretty cool. Oh, a little bit more of this. So much action to be had. Oh, and they're back at it again. I'm going to assume this is like an ongoing battle in the pages. Poor Logan. He is not looking good there. I don't know who this dude is. Anybody identify this crazy guy? Is he a mutant? Is he just a supervillain? Here's a Savage Land adventure. Okay. And looks like Sauron, so still in the Savage Land. And just to close that out here, check this out. Ooh, yes, Wolverine and Nick Fury, the Scorpio connection. This is another one where my buddy was like, hey, this is a good story. You're going to like this one. And just like this format size, too, is kind of like the super special size, it feels like. So that's kind of neat. Let me see what else we have over here. So, of course, also, Wolverine had a home, right? He came from somewhere. He didn't just get that solo book and wasn't just popular right off the bat. So the other thing that Galen had were the first, or should I say the subsequent 5 issues that came after X-Men #1. I already have multiple copies of X-Men #1 with the different covers and things like that, but I didn't collect beyond that. Again, X-Men never quite grabbed me, but now I can really get the story with the Jim Lee art. So he's got all these here. I'm sure most of you picked these up back in the day, still have them in your long boxes, right? But it's still kind of just a wonderful thing to see them, as they were on the racks and have them not just in a digital form to flip through, but actual see the ads, see what was going on here. Oh, a little bit of Psylocke and Sabretooth. That's kind of crazy. All right. There were some other things here, like what if Professor X became the Juggernaut? I love a good 90s what if story. And I have a lot of them, but I didn't have this one. So that's a really neat one. That's cool to look at. Now, speaking of a Juggernaut, right? This is pretty neat. He's like, so this next one's not a great story, but it is very 90s. And yes, this is an Executioner's Song trade. Just look how thick that is. I didn't realize that it was that big a storyline. Like I recall, seeing the different numbers on the tie-in issues, but I didn't know that it was this thick. I mean, there's a lot going on here. And I only have one issue that's still polybagged, with Cable on the cover, that, first part of it. So I'm very curious to see what stories are hiding within there. So, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of Wolverine, right? There's a lot of good stuff. So I'm going to share some more with you. This will be the last one for now. And then in the next video, you're going to see some more Marvel stuff because, yeah, it's impressive. And it's not all just Marvel. There's some DC, there's some Image. Yeah, so more to come for sure. But I was sure that Wolverine would get a lot of you excited, as maybe this might. Yes, the first issue of Excalibur. It's in fantastic condition. This is one for me where my first ever comic I bought was an issue of Excalibur, but it wasn't this one. I was that one you guys probably remember with all the heroes like on the cover together, like facing off. Like I was like, how can I turn that down on, at the spinner rack at 7-Eleven? But now I can kind of see from the beginning of the saga how that all went. So an X-related title and a number one that's kind of special. So that'll do it for this time. Stay tuned. If this is your first time watching, make sure to subscribe so that you can see all the videos to come. Of course, subscribe also on your favorite podcast catcher, wherever you find your listening is most enjoyable. Go ahead and do it. If you enjoy what we're doing here, give us a little like down on the bottom there, a thumbs up, a heart, whatever you want to do. I don't know about YouTube, but also if you, what do I know? Not much. I know comics. But we thank you for giving us a chance to share this with you. And yeah, stay tuned for the next video. Until next time, keep your books bagged and boarded.